and welcome back to the channel, guys. VAG Technique in the garage, where we have the 2.7 bi-turbo V6 from my silver S4. The chassis is on the ramp. We are not working on the chassis. We can't continue working on the chassis because during the weekend nobody's here, so we can do mess. Everything like engines were covered and stuff, so we couldn't do whatever. But the guys are back and it is dusty and dirty, so I don't want to have them breathing all the stuff. So we have to leave it till probably one evening, weekend, I don't know, but we have to continue with the chassis afterwards. Meanwhile, we did receive the cylinder heads from Spain, the 2.8 cylinder heads with camshafts and everything. I didn't need the timing jump on them, so there was a bit of a damage, but we don't actually need the heads, we need the camshafts and the top of the carriers. So, meanwhile, I'm talking, Eric will put some footage what we did on the rocker cover on bank 2, cylinders 4 to 6. And we've done loads of grinding, cutting, adjusting, and everything what needed to implement like these two covers into one single cover. So this is a cover from 2.8, this is a cover from 2.7 turbo, and we have a problem because, as you can see what I mentioned in the last video, this one is fully straight, there's nothing in there, and this one has a small like a U-bend inside for the oil line where are the carriers. So what we did so far, we have the cover on the engine, which I already modified. So we put the cover there, which is there to actually keep the oil from the PCV from there. And you can now see the oil lines which are on the top of the carriers, and they look completely different compared to the 2.7. Also RS4 heads, the porting is the same, but I believe they don't have the oil feed like this. The thing what I'm worried about is the main oil feed for these is only from one side, and then it's going into the line over the top into each single one. And when I was cleaning them, they have a bit of a play. So what I want to do later on into this video, we're going to try to finish it off. We will leave the covers off, we're going to put oil filter there and everything with oil, and we're going to crank the engine until we will see oil coming out from all of these camshaft carrier cups. So first thing what we're gonna do, we will try to do the second rocker cover. So first step is we have to clean it all up. Okay guys, so we measure the distance from this edge to that edge, so it's easier to put it where it should be. And this is like not even 2 minutes cleaning, just so it's not greasy. And the both of the covers are actually just like pressed onto the nipples which were from the factory there. Currently we will grind them off, and we have to implement this piece of metal over there to cover the ventilation from the block. So let's get to it. Why I'm making my life more complicated, I don't actually know. The whole problem was I bought these cylinder heads very long time ago, and they were actually like on the shelf lying around for a couple of years, and I didn't knew that there will be this issue with the oil supply for it. So apparently after a few years, when I start looking again, I did find out there are like couple of engine codes with different cylinder heads. So the part number what I have was usually used for the early models, where, as you can see, is a different oil feed for the camshaft from the top. The whole thing was, when I did find out, I was looking for a 2.8 cylinder heads, the new versions, where it's the same oil feed like on the S4 and RS4. So we don't need to adjust anything, and the oil supply will be directly from a cylinder head to each point where the camshaft is sitting in the carriers and head. Unfortunately, I wasn't really lucky. The whole project is like whatever I can find, whatever I can get. It's a mix of new parts, used parts, and some manufacturing, as you can see. And I'm not 100% happy with it that I have to do what I'm doing at the moment, but there was only two options. I will try to do this, what I'm doing now, or I will have to put back the original S4 cylinder heads, which is not a problem really, but I know there will be a restriction at some point, and what's the point having the RS4 intake, big turbos and everything when the ports to the heads are small. So what I'm doing right now is not something difficult. It is a bit of a pain, but it's taking a bit of a time as well to try to do something what wasn't meant to be done, and that is mixing the rocker covers from the S4 along with the covers from a 2.8 cylinder heads. So the whole thing, why we have to do it, is where you can see the ventilation going through the PCV. It should be covering the oil which is just moving around in the cylinder head, and it's spraying from the hydraulic lifters and camshaft around, so it doesn't get into the ventilation hose. I will probably, well, we will see. We will try it out. If there will be a huge oil consumption and the oil will be physically seen in the ventilation, I will probably get a catch can, which will not reduce the oil consumption, let's say, but unless it will not be burning through the intake. I'm still saying that the cover will do the job. As you can see, it is covering the ventilation where the PCV hole should go, so I think it should do the job. And the second problem what we're having currently is that the covers from the S4 don't meant to have that oil line in the top, so they are much lower, or they are much closer to the camshafts physically. So what I have to do, I will have to cut these small bits out as well, so it's not touching the physical cover, so it will sit in nicely. And then I'll be grinding off part of the cover from inside as well, so we will make like a nice canyon for the oil line, as you can see now. So the first cover is pretty much okay. We still have a few bits touching somewhere, probably in the front, so we will have to adjust that. It has to sit much deeper. And then the other problem was how I will touch the cover or the cover together with the metal what you're seeing right now. So I was thinking rivets, but rivets are like, they're good, but with the vibration it just can get loose and it can cause some kind of damage. So right now, as you can see, I'm grinding down the material which will be probably touching the oil line. You have to be really careful because there's not lots of material, so you can easily make a hole into him. So this is the first test, and you can see it's touching somewhere, and as soon as I'll turn around I can see that there's like a small nipple for a bolt on the other side, so we're just going to grind it off. Again, you gotta be careful not to make any hole, and you have to be doing it bit by bit and trying it. So this is another attempt. Now you can see the oil lines from the top again, and this is without the gasket, so the cover sits, I think, alright. That will do for what we need it to be, and we can move on. So as I was mentioning, how to make it work together. So the only thing what I figured was like, let's drill holes, let's just put normal bolts there, we'll put it on Loctite, and we're just gonna cut them from the other side and make them smooth, so it will not actually get loose while the engine is running, and will hopefully not cause any internal damage. So right now we are making the threads, and of course you gotta be careful again because it's very soft material and easily something can get damaged. So before we will screw it on, we're just gonna clean up all the bits, so nothing is in there. Again, this machine is brilliant for cleaning, but you really have to be super careful. You don't have any of the cleaning stuff basically stuck in any of the ports or any oil lines or anything like that. So you can see the result is amazing, but yeah, we will be cleaning with brake cleaner, pressed air again and everything, and then we can continue. Okay guys, so this is the final product. We tried to implement it from 2.8 to 2.7 turbo, and we have to grind these 3 spots down like on the previous cover. Also this nipple over there, which is there for a bolt from the other side, that's from a hose or pipe to the turbo, I believe. And now we're just gonna screw this cover on like this. The bolts will have Loctite, cut them from the other side, and the second cover is done. Okay, so we are stripping down everything what we need from the cylinder heads. Again, I'm not really happy we are taking the camshaft sprockets or the top of the cams, the cups from a different cylinder head to my cylinder heads, because from the manufacturer how it's done, it's screwed together, the machine will drill it through, so there can be like small differences here and there. However, we will try it before we will fully assemble it, if it's moving freely and everything. And also, reason why I was looking for a full cylinder heads with everything is because the camshafts from my car or my engine, one of them was like a bit damaged. There was like score or rust or something right on the top of the profile, so I was afraid it will be tapping. So also the yellow one, which is outside from America, which there will be videos about, that one of the inlet camshaft is completely damaged, so I'll be replacing that with my used camshaft. And again, we're getting to the point to get anything for these cars, like new parts, is unbelievable. You almost can't get anything, and used ones are also pain to get. So these full heads with cams are from Spain actually. So right now we'll put them in the machine, clean them, visually check them, and once they're out we have to lubricate them straight away, otherwise they'll get rusty. So I was happy with the cams. There is a huge difference between the 2.7 and 2.8 camshafts. They are much more aggressive on the top end when they're fully open, and we're just gonna clean it all up and then we can continue. So we cleaned up everything, what you see, and currently, how I mentioned in the videos, I don't know when, but I did mention it, the top camshaft sprockets part are literally from a different cylinder head. How in the factory the cylinder head is made, it's all screwed together and you should literally drill a single hole through it. So they might not actually fit 50-50, but I already put them on. I did try the edges, everything seems to be lining up, so that should be fine. If they're gonna be different, it will be really minimum difference. So currently we will remove these new hydraulic lifters, and we will put both of the set camshafts onto the cylinder heads. We're going to try to turn it so it doesn't open the valves, and we'll be checking if it's actually turning easily. So let's get to it. Okay, so we currently put the camshafts onto the cylinder head. We have the bolt so we can turn it, and the good thing is we managed to put it in the timing position on the first attempt. You see the triangle? I do. Yes, and there's a small cut on the sprocket, also on the other side. Yeah. Also, other thing what you have to do before you all put it back together, because you gotta, how you see me putting it back together, all together, you have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 pins on the timing chain in between the 2 points. Bear in mind, these camshaft adjusters are left and right. So one is tensioning towards to the bottom, and the other one is tensioning towards the top. If you're going to swap them around, or you're going to have the two same ones, you will have a fault code with incorrect coloration. Because how the engine is working, you have the main sprocket for the timing here. However, the camshaft position sensor is on the exhaust. So if one of them is not in the correct position, you will have a fault code. But right now, let's put number 16 on here and let's try how much force do we need to turn them. Okay, pretty much with a finger. Okay, so I think that will be good. It's turning smoothly. I'm just going to put it back in the timing position. That's good. So right now what we're going to do next, we will put everything in a Newton meter spec. I believe 8 Newton meters. We're going to tie that down and check if it's still turning. So we have a very good question from Mr. Eric, the cameraman, because he asked me like, why are we wasting our precious time and our precious energy by removing something and putting it back on, the hydraulic lifters in this case. So the reason why we don't have the hydraulic lifters in there is quite simple, because we don't have the timing belt there yet, and the only way how to try it, to turn it by hand, is literally without the belt, so you can feel the force what you're doing, is to do it like this. Reason why, currently piston number 1 is in top position, which means if you have the hydraulic lifters there, the valves will open and they will bend. So that's why we always do it without the hydraulic lifters, rocker arms, whatever is connecting the cam to the valves, just in case. So currently we are happy with it. We will take everything off, clean it, prep it, put them back on and put it back together. And then we have to do the other side. And I believe if the other side will be fine, we can continue. We have to put the pipings so we can't do the belt. But let's do one side first completely and then we move to the other one. And again, a very long and boring process, repeating process. Put it back on the check it, strip it down again, install it. Still, it's probably much easier and much better to do it this way than just fully assemble everything and then be scratching your head when the engine is in the car and you try to start it and it's not running and it's misfiring and something is not right, or tapping and this and that. So everything is checked. What I'm doing right now with my car, we do it like with any other customer car really when we're building an engine, because we are building an engine, but bear in mind guys, loads of the parts, even with my engine, is still used. Cylinder head, skin, pressure tested, fine, but it's still used. All the caps, okay, cleaned up, checked and everything, but still used. Camshaft, used. So everything what we can get, which is like in some kind of a financial suicide matter, like let's buy it and replace it, okay, we can do it. However, to build a new engine, that it's like financially is absolutely mental. So I'm doing this S4 for myself. I'm doing like the best as I can in some kind of a certain budget, because still the car literally covered over 200,000 on the clock. So when we are talking some kind of a market value of the vehicle is not much these days. But I do like the car and I decided to do it. So this was like my decision and this is how I want to get it done. And this is what my financial situation led me to actually do something with it. So still loads of money went into this build, and still anything can go wrong anytime, because like I said, it's a mix of used parts, new parts, and something what I did. So that's the worst thing. Also, when we're talking about new parts like pistons, for example, Vossner, there's a disclaimer on the box. If you ever bought a new Vossner pistons, like these pistons will be used for very high sport automobiles and this and that, and there's a disclaimer, there's no warranty from Vossner or any kind of manufacturer when it comes to a tuned cars. Nobody will give you warranty, unfortunately, and this is something we have to live with. So motorsport is lovely, it's really fun and everything, but it can turn out very bad and wrong financially sometimes, and stuff can go wrong for no reason. Right now we are assembling the second chain along with the adjuster. And again, we are putting the chain on first, and you have to count the pins on the chains in between the timing marks. So I did actually find out that the camshafts for inlet, I'm not sure about the exhaust, but 100% inlet are the same. The only difference is that the sprocket where the chain goes, the timing mark is on a different position. So this is a bit of a pain to actually assemble it, because you gotta be careful not to skip any tooth, and it can't really move, and you have to put the whole assemble with the camshaft, chains and the tensioner onto the cylinder head nicely. It is still alright to do when the hydraulic lifters are not there, because the profile is literally not touching anything, so it is much easier. Soon as we will put the hydraulic lifters on there, one profile always is literally like depressing them down, and when you tighten it down, it's a long process. You gotta be like really careful, and you have to do it really slowly, bit by bit, so you don't damage the camshaft or anything. So right now we are lubricating this amazing thing. I don't know why Audi decide to do the oil feed from the top with this pipe. It's literally some kind of a pipe with a plastic insert, and the oil pressure is going in them. So before we will cover everything up, I actually want to turn the engine on the starter motor and check everything if we have oil supply going through them and everything is lubricated as it should be. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, this was the only option what I had, because I couldn't get any cylinder heads. So again, long process. We are putting everything on there. We will be tightening to the Newton meter spec bit by bit, and then we'll be trying out if the camshaft are spinning nicely. So the one side was alright. We will see the other side, so fingers crossed. Let's turn it.
Is it good, my friend?
Very nice. I love America. Okay guys, so that is all for this video. Again, boring video, long video, testing, taking the parts off and putting it back on and checking and taking off again. It needs to be done, unfortunately. It is a long process, and trust me, it's even more boring and much more longer than in the video we've seen. So in the next video, the plan is to put the timing and probably try to spin the engine, put a bit of oil in there and stuff. So yeah, stay tuned. Loads of funny things coming on. Thank you for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Take care for now.